my main thing is looking at things from a different perspective to see what other people don't and to see what you can make of a situation. I haven't got a specific style, but I love seeing color. So if I see it, I
Yeah.
will make sure the color shows. I just love to do things from scratch. I know one of my photos that I took at Yanchap Lavender Farm, it had the raw photo of looking a little bit pale. So I really put the color of purple into that one. And I went back a couple months later and re-edited the raw file.
Yeah.
And I actually made it completely pink. And then I changed 2 settings and made it like completely blue. And it is very bright. And I know I did get a lot of comments saying, I really liked the original. It's like, you know how much time I spent to edit that, to figure it out.
So what system do you shoot then?
So I've got a Canon 5D Mark II. I've got a couple of lenses, telephoto, standard 50, and a pancake, aka a 40mm.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is. Kind of covered all my bases there. And I've actually just recently upgraded to the EOS R. Thank you, Boxing Day sales. Just waiting for the EF to the R adapter, which there's a global shortage on, so can't exactly do anything about it at the moment. It's on back order, but that'll be sort of like my future camera, and can use all my old lenses as well, which I don't know, the 50, I'm pretty sure that it's the 50mm, which is the closest to the human eye's sort of like lens perspective.
Yeah.
And so that's why I primarily use it for street photography.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Because it like keeps it, you know, like sort of like true to your eye.
Yeah.
In that sense. It's always when you don't have your camera, you always find new places that you're like, oh,
really,
damn, should have bought my camera.
For real. Off podcast, you were showing your film camera.
Yes. Yes, I was.
So, tell me a little bit, what are your plans with it? Apart from taking pictures. I mean, because are you trying to use it for specific occasions or also just...
Definitely not.
No?
No, definitely not. I bought this film camera, Fujika, aka Fuji, 1976. It is the STX-1N. I don't even actually know the model myself. If I pull this lever up, the film compartment pops out, and that's where you put in the film. And you can't see a viewfinder. On the back has no LCD screen, pre-DSLR, etc., etc. I've got to get it serviced, so I haven't actually used it yet. But mainly, like, I just bought it for fun and just to challenge my abilities when you can't see.
Yeah.
Essentially, what the preview is, what it's going to look like, and it really makes you think about like what pictures you're taking. And that's another thing over time that I've noticed is I've actually taken less pictures and more purposeful pictures instead of like just, you know, just guessing and, you know, taking extra and taking more than like I know I need but experimenting wise. So like with my camera now is like I take less photos and more purposeful. Like I set it up properly more the first time, and instead of taking 20 pictures, I take 4. And it's just much more worth it in the editing process when you know, have to, when you don't have to edit as many photos and everything like that. And that's exactly the same with a film camera of what you've got to keep in mind is you've got one shot. So fingers crossed I should be all right. Hopefully the first roll of film isn't all blurry shots of different shadows and this is light and this is dark and you can't even tell what it is.
It shouldn't be that bad, should it?
Oh, fingers crossed. And that's the problem with photography. It's just expensive. Had to get into this one.
Now, going back a little bit about the photo walks, is there any interesting stories that happened there? Maybe some arguments or like, I don't know, just special occasions that happened which you can think of, or is it all peace and love and go with the flow?
It's all very peaceful, all very civil. There hasn't been anything too dramatic. I think the only dramatic thing that I've experienced was having 25, 30 photographers on me at once, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, you know, I've got a whole crowd, and I don't know where to look, and nobody really stepped up to the occasion. And until you get into the model's shoes, you don't know how important it is to have like somebody there to be like, can you like change your angle? Can you do a turn? Can you spin? And it is so important to communicate with the model, and it just takes practice and time to get used to that. I think that's just been the most dramatic thing of being like, oh my gosh, like this is hectic. Like stuck on a log for 10, 15 minutes, just staying there and being, you know, have the light hit me at a certain angle. That's why, you know, one photographer was like, right, let's go to this spot, stand here, do that. But when he walked away and saw another opportunity, nobody really stepped up in that sense.
Yeah.
So I guess that's been the biggest thing. Another big thing with models is like you always tell them they're doing good. Otherwise, if you tell them like no, their confidence is just gonna like drop like 100%, and you'll never, you know, get a good photo unless you want a picture of them like looking really mad.
Yeah.
But you'll never get like a good photo of when you're discouraging them. So it's always like important to encourage them and be like, okay, can you like try this? Can you move this way? Try this angle. So that's like one of the biggest things that I'm like, okay, I'm always communicating with my models now, because I know what it feels like to have so many photographers on you all at once. And it's very stressful. And especially if people aren't used to the camera as well, they already have that stress like from before they even step in front of the camera.
Yeah. Well, yeah, talking about resolutions, that's what I also wanted to ask. New Year just happened. Do you have any plans for 2021 then? Well, you just told me that you want to get into photography a little, videography a little more, but anything else
Definitely.
you want to do more?
That's one of them, and also learning the EOS R front to back, and also another big thing is the Perth Photo Walks that I'm part of the team of. So that's going to be another big thing that I'm focusing on this year, and I'm also applied to study cybersecurity as well. So we'll see how that goes.
Cybersecurity, holy moly! Damn.
Yeah, I definitely want to go to London and get some really cool street photography of the red double deckers, and just have the red double decker just in color and like black and white the rest of the photo.
Ooh,
that's sort of like what's my mind of like, I want that to be a thing, you know, get some motion blur behind as well. Still got to figure out how that'll work in, you know, broad daylight and things like that.
A panning shot.
But, you know, yeah, panning shot. Got to figure out the motion blur with, you know, the shutter speed settings as well.
Yeah.
But like having that as the focus and like the rest of the world being in black or white.
If there's anything what you would say to people to start off as a photographer?
Whatever cameras you got is best on you. And I know everyone says this, but if you can shoot a really good photo, if you can think about the composition, if you can think about what people aren't seeing, then you're already like a step, you know, ahead.
Yeah.
If like that's one of the biggest ones. I still remember my first photo that I took was on one of the like first iPhones, and it was, you know, one turn of the head changes the whole situation.
Basically two things: learn light and just use whatever you have.
Yeah, see what you can find, capture, and create while you've got, you know, a camera that's your phone.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for having me on.
It was a pleasure.
And I look forward to 2021 to experience more and to experiment more.
That's some great words to end the podcast. Thank you so much, Jen. And hopefully, maybe we'll see you in a future episode. Who knows?
Maybe.
Or on YouTube.